Welcome again, viewers, to my friend the Holy Spirit. This is Gift Zawadi Love. As we finalize our series, 3 Types of Christians, I just want to mention something in Romans chapter 8 from verse 9. 5. Those who are dominated by the sinful nature think about the sinful things, but those who are controlled by the Holy Spirit think about things that please the Spirit. So letting your sinful nature control your mind leads to death, but letting the Spirit control your mind leads to life and peace. For the sinful nature is always hostile to God. It never did obey God's laws. It never will. That is why those who are still under the control of their sinful nature can never please God. As long as you're in control, the devil has a part in you. But you're not controlled by your sinful nature. You are controlled by the Spirit. If you have the Spirit of God living in you, and remember that those who do not have the Spirit of Christ living in them do not belong to Him at all. When we go out to verse 12, therefore, dear brothers and sisters, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do. For if you live by its dictates, you will die. But if through the power of the Spirit you put to death the deeds of your sinful nature, you will live. For all who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. Remember, the Holy Spirit is a seal. And to those who belong to God, these are the children of God. These are the ones who know who God is. These are the kind of Christians who are like Paul and who are like Jesus. Remember when Jesus died, people talk about premature death. What is premature death? What does premature mean? Before maturity, before time. Christ was only 33 when he died. Was that a premature death? No. Why? Because he said it is finished. Somebody dying at 120 and still dying in sin. To people of the earth, a human mind says that is not premature death. They had a long life. But guess what? To God, it's a premature death. Why? They did not fulfill their purposes on earth. Their God-given task. They did not finish their purpose. If you are like Christ, 33 years old, and finished your work, and it is finished, like Paul said also, he never died prematurely. In fact, death could not take him before he finished his purpose. Why? Because he's an exact replica of who God is, allowing God the Holy Spirit take over you. He even told Peter off one time when Peter was being wishy-washy with the Jews and the Gentiles, saying one thing and saying another. And he told them, you better take a stand of who you belong to. Because we belong to Christ. And here it is. You don't tell the law and then you mix it up when other people are there. No. You have to tell the truth at all times. You cannot be this kind of a person. And Paul had no problem calling Peter, the disciple who was with Jesus for those 3 years, calling him out. Paul is a good example of what God can do with somebody who was persecuting Christians, but a yielded vessel, totally and completely yielded to God the Holy Spirit. That even before he died, he said, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. He had the last word to say, now it's time for me to go and get crowned. He did not die at 150 or 120, but he did not die prematurely. Why? He finished his work. Premature death, it is not about the age. It is about your purpose. Did you accomplish your purpose? You can be 100 and still die prematurely. You can be 120 and still die prematurely. Remember, it is not about how old you live on earth. That is irrelevant when it comes to heaven. It is about how big your spirit is. How have you grown your spirit? How have you raised your spirit? There are some children who actually finished their work when they're children and they've gone to be with the Father. Jesus finished his work before he even got to 40. It was not premature. So let me ask you, are you going to die prematurely at 120? Not having done your work. At 80 years old, not having fulfilled your God-given task. At 70-something years old, not having fulfilled what God created you to do. Are you 90 years old? And you think, oh, with long life I am being blessed. No. God says he is not pleased with the death of somebody who has not finished their work. Why don't you finish your work? And even when people think you died prematurely, it is not premature. Because no man can take the life of any man who belongs to God. You see this person, nobody can kill them. Nobody can take them away. Nobody can take them out. They lay down their life. Jesus laid down his life. Paul was ready to go. Nobody killed him. Who will take your life before you finish your work? May God help us to know the difference between real premature death and real sleeping to be with the Lord. What kind of a Christian are you? I pray that this series has helped you to understand about who God prepared us to be. Why Jesus Christ came to die is so that we can be like him. There is a song that they say that I am Mahana Modani wow. I am Atioe Kotonetake. These ones who look like they are God, they do not know what defeat is. They have no idea how it feels to be defeated. Why? Because they're more than conquerors. They are just like their God, victors, and they act just like their God. Victory belongs to these ones. Who are you? God bless you.